The Jewish comedian Alan King once said that you can sum up all Jewish festivals in one sentence. They tried to kill us, we survived, let's eat. The truth is that this is an appropriate summary of all Jewish festivals except for Hanukkah, which is best summarized by, they tried to Hellenize us, we survived, let's pray. You see, unlike Pharaoh, Haman, and Hitler made their names be erased, the ancient Assyrian Greeks didn't try to annihilate the Jewish body, but its spirit and soul. They didn't seek to eradicate the physical existence of the Jewish people, but their spiritual identity, faith, and heritage. For example, they forbade the study of Torah, the practice of Shabbat and Brit Milah or circumcision, among other foundational Jewish practices. And hence, simply put, Hanukkah is the festival which celebrates the Jewish people's stubborn ability to withstand the pressure from without and within to join the melting pot of history and to assimilate into the wider societies in which they lived. And this explains why, unlike most Jewish festivals, which are celebrated physically through feasting and special foods, Hanukkah is celebrated in a more spiritual way, through rites like lighting the menorah and reciting a prayer of thanks called Hallel. Now, while we do eat certain Hanukkah foods like donuts and latkes, those were not part of the original tenets of Hanukkah, but are customs which have developed later in history. In essence, then, the story and the message of Hanukkah has become more relevant over time, as Jewish people around the world benefit from greater freedoms and opportunities than ever before. So as we gather around the candles this year, let's internalize the stories they tell about the courageous Maccabean spirit of old. And as we sing songs of faith and thanks, let's remember that we are only here to tell our story because of those who came before us, whose Herculean sacrifices are too many to count and too difficult to recount. And let's remember that in the end, it is our stubborn commitment to faith and tradition, no matter how out of style or step it might be, that explains why we are still here, while so many others have vanished into the shadows of history. Just as poetry was famously defined in the 20th century as news that stays news, Jewish history is defined by Jews who stayed Jews. Cecil Roth put it best in his book, A History of the Jews, and I quote, "Throughout our history, there have been weaker elements who have shirked the sacrifices which Judaism entailed. They have been swallowed long since in the great majority. Only the more stalwart have carried on the traditions of their ancestors and can now look back with pride upon their superb heritage. Are we to be numbered with the weak majority or with the stalwart minority? It is for us to decide." So here's to making good choices whose positive effects will reverberate and pave the way for your family's Jewish future. And here's to wishing you and yours a very happy and meaningful Hanukkah.